So we're already ready to hop into game 1 of this ATL Euro Amateur. Our first player will be Owen, and the first player will be Fjordi. The first map will be Automaton, and this is going to be a series of 5 games. Each team will choose a player for each map, and the final game will be an ace match if there is the need to get to that final game. Actually, I think we're almost ready to start. This has been a really quick start. One of our 2 players actually needs a moment. He is having some connection issues. This is not a problem actually. Everything has been quite on time, so it's all good. So, AlpX, our team, will be facing the Art of Warfare. First map will be Automaton, second Kairos Junction, then New Repugnancy, Cyber Forest and King's Cove will be the 5 maps for this series. This is a lot of spectators actually. The first game will be ZVP. Actually, it's a matchup Owen is having some problems in, but I think he will be fine. Owen is an exceptional good player. I think we're almost ready to go. Casters are ready. Players looks like they're ready. Just waiting for Owen to check in. And we're ready. Time to start our game 1. As I said, first map will be Automaton. Matchup will be ZVP. This is gonna make some probably fine builds. Protoss have a lot of tools for early aggression on this map actually. And I think this overall will be a pretty enjoyable game. Oh, this is not the fastest loading ever, but it's okay. When all these many people are in the same lobby, this actually can happen. And we're ready to start. This is game 1 of our series, and here in the top right corner we have our purple Protoss player rocking AlpX banner. He is Owen. Here in the lower left corner we have our Zerg player. Playing for the Art of Warfare, he is Fjordi. So everything is starting really standard for those two players. Fjordi is going for a notch first, a 60 notch to avoid Owen's probe to actually delay it as it comes really late comparing to a 16 notch. Rocking the 18 supply, getting an extractor and then a spawning pool. This is gonna be pretty standard, as is probably going to be Owen's build. We have a low ground Wolof with gateway, and probably this will be a cybernetic core first. Owen is getting an assimilator. He's probably gonna get gas for an adept and starting to do some scout and pressure. This is actually an access first. This can be considered a little bit greedy, but for a cybernetic core opening it's actually pretty standard. And I think Fjordi will come with his overload and scout it pretty quickly and get a third of his own actually. Here the spawning pool is almost finished. This is actually a little bit of a weak positioning for a spawning pool, but in this matchup it actually doesn't matter a lot. Spawning pool has finished, and 4 links and 2 queens are probably going to be made. Bit of lagging, nothing too big. And here is an adept coming from Owen. As I said before, this can be really useful for scouting some early game pressure, drone saturations, and everything that is actually happening to the other side of the map. Actually, this is a Stargate opening from Owen, Stargate in Wolof. This is actually a really safe opening. We're gonna see if this is gonna be an Oracle first or a Phoenix first. Reaching almost saturation in his natural. Warp gate is incoming for Owen, as link speed is gonna finish soon. Everything is going really standard until now. A shield battery for safety, while Owen's adept is moving out on the map. He's not gonna scout a lot since everything is going pretty standard. These are 2 safety spore crawlers, since actually here is a bit of action is happening. The adept is still gonna shade in. He's actually gonna take a lot of damage. He's gonna die pretty easily. Since this target has been scouted, here we have 2 spore crawlers and an oracle coming out of Owen's Stargate. Not a lot of damage to be done over here, but certainly a little bit of scouting never hurts. Actually here, drones are going down, 3-4 drones. Not too bad, not too bad actually. A couple of drones will get killed here. And it's 6 drones overall for such a low commitment. Not too bad, actually not too bad. Spore cooler being dropped in the 3rd base of Fjordi. And this overload here actually is a sneaky one. He could scout into Owen's base that is getting a Twilight Council 13 drones coming out of Fjordi's hatcheries. More adepts are being whooped in, and this is probably gonna be a resonating glaives pressure build. Billy Nest coming from our Zerg player. No vision. Actually, the Overlord has got into Owen's base and scouted the Twilight Council. And in fact, a Roach Warren has been dropped by our Zerg player that is trying to be the safest possible. This is an interesting switch actually. This is a lot of adepts being roped in by Owen, and it's actually gonna get charged. So once again, he's going to get a really standard mid game with a third nexus being made right now. Reveal on the main of Fjordi, but actually the lair is gonna be on the second base, on his natural, and I don't think actually Owen has scouted. Yeah, he did. He actually scouted this. 15 roaches coming out, and overload speed is coming out too. I think Fjordi is actually wanting to deal some damage over here. This is a huge amount of roaches. Roach speed has been started to alongside +1 ranged. 2 robo facilities have been dropped actually by Owen to counter this kind of roach pressure. Zerglings are trying to get a scout on his third and fourth base by Owens, and they're actually gonna see nothing because of this stasis word. Here, a lot of charge lots are actually moving through the map, and Fjordi has enough roaches back home to defend from this, while this Oracle is trying to deal some more damage, but it's actually going down. A lot of charge lots are getting in. We're gonna see here that probably there's nothing to be found for Owen in terms of damage. And he's just gonna move his zealots back to his base. Back to macro, 2 immortals are coming out, stalkers and sentries. Actually Owen, I think, is fearing for some kind of roach all-in or roach pressure. Now this could be something our other player could do too, but I actually think he's too much committed to dealing some damage with this big army. Forge has been dropped too, as a Hydralisk Den and Infestation Pit being dropped at the same time. A 4th base is coming down for Fjordi, and a lot of workers actually. This is developing into a nice straight macro game. This is a big army by Owen, but I don't think it actually can be enough to deal with all those roaches. Actually, Fjordi has massed out alongside some Zerglings to counter the Immortals. "77 workers for a Azure player, and the Hive is coming at this moment alongside the Spire." This has been a really fast stack up for Fjordi that is wanting to develop into a late game transition pretty fast. Well, Owen is actually getting +2 and the Temple Archives. This army is still pretty scary actually. The position here is really off for a Azure player that just dives straight into Owen's army. Nice force fields over here for Owen that still has not enough to clear this army, or maybe he does actually. Immortals are pretty good against roaches, and this Zerg's army has been completely cleared out. Owen has just decided to make damage on the Zerg's 3rd base or 4th base, and he actually gets in the 3rd base as most run with roaches, but it's not enough. These Immortals are doing some great work shooing away those roaches and those Ravagers. Some nice macro by our Zerg player, but Owen's army is vastly superior in terms of tech. No Hydralisk yet, and the Zerg's army has just been completely cleared off. More Zealots are being whooped in, and I actually think our Zerg player has just to tap out. The 3rd base is going down. Nothing is coming out from those archeries. 28 drones have died. I think Owen has made it. More drones are dying. More and more drones are dying. Not too many units are coming out from those archeries. This army of Owen was just too superior, and Fiori tapped out of the game. It's a 1-0 lead for AlpX after a really nice game by our Protoss player Owen. Actually, I have to restart the game a bit right now. I have some small FPS problems. I just need to lower the graphics a bit. Yeah, I think this is good. Just to give a small break for our players too. They certainly need some time to study their opponents before hopping into our second game of the day. Second game will be on Kairos Junction. My computer is just melting right now. I have no idea why. This has never happened to me. But I think it just happens. Finally the game decided to restart. It's all good. Nothing too important. I'm sorry for this small technical problem. It's something that really never happened to me. So it's just gonna be a small break. I think we're back in. Talking about the last game, I think actually the decision to make a lot of roaches in the early part of the game it's actually a pretty big commitment, because as we saw, every tech building for the Zerg has been delayed by a lot, and when actually a lot of mortars came out of Owen's robotics facilities, there was actually no way to stop the damage they can deal to units like roaches, and roaches are just playing bad against Immortals. So, we're ready to hop into game 2. AlpX is leading 1-0, and our second map, as I said before, is gonna be Kairos Junction. Here we have our 2 players ready to go. Gonna apologize. Stuff like that happens. Here we have a TVZ actually. The Art of Warfare is gonna bring the Terron player Bunny style against Booby, our Zerg player. We're gonna see if the Art of Warfare gonna tie up the score, or it's just gonna be a 2-0 for AlpX. Here we are, hopping into game 2 on Kairos Junction. This is another short map, way shorter than Automaton actually. This is an interesting map for rushes. And here, spawning in the lower right corner of Kairos Junction, we have a red, well, this is green, I'm actually daltonic, this is a green Zerg, it's Booby. And instead, spawning in the top left corner of Kairos Junction, rocking the Art of Warfare portrait, we have our TAW Terran player. This is Bunny style. Nothing too weird happening right now. Once again, our 2 players are going for a straight macro opening. No SCV on the map. Kairos Junction is actually a great map for proxies. A barracks and an hatch first coming from Booby. Spawning pool has been dropped alongside the extractor. This is a small SCV scout to make sure nothing too weird, nothing too uncommon is going on in the Zerg base. While on his side of the map, a Reaper is coming out of the barracks. Saturation almost completed. Orbital command on the way. This is gonna probably be a command center next, and here it is on the low ground, feeling safe because of the Reaper. Everything is going really standard as far as standard can go in ZVT. Actually, ZVT is my favorite matchup. This can lead to some really interesting macro games, really long macro games too. Here we have 4 lanes and 2 queens, as always, to just have some scouting information with the lanes, defending from the Reaper. This drone is forced to get off, while the Reaper finds a sweet spot in the middle line and gets actually a Zergling. This is not too bad. Zerglings are continuing to chase the Reaper, and another Zergling is going down probably. Yeah, he is. And probably another Zergling is going down. This is actually not too good for Z-Booby. Command center is almost finished, and a reactor is going on for Bunny style. That is probably gonna do a simple Hellion. Yeah, the swap just means there are gonna be at least 4 Hellions into our Zerg player's base. Hellions have been started. The order is gonna be shooed away, while a bunker is starting, and a starport 2 OV speed is actually a pretty uncommon decision. It helps scouting some early pressure and stuff like that. The Reaper gets another time in the base of a Zerg and escapes with actually 8 HP. Hellions are gonna be dropped out of this factory really fast. Stimpack is gonna be started in this barracks. And the starpot, what's gonna this starpot do? So the Reaper scouts the third base, dropped by Booby. While link speed has finished, so this Reaper could just get surrounded and killed. The Baneling Nest has been dropped alongside 2 extractors over here. So this is gonna be a lot of pressure by a Terran player. He has team on the way to transition into a big bio army. And the Hellions are actually here to deal some damage and get some scouting information. They find the sweet spot behind the mineral line, and the Zerglings can actually do anything to this. Zerglings are just gonna die one by one. The Queens get in and the Hellions are gonna get away. Most of them are actually gonna die. All of them are actually gonna die. But the Zerglings are actually focusing the Reaper. The Liberator is instead flying into our Zerg player main base, while the lair is going on and is gonna get scouted really fast by this Liberator alongside the 2 evolution chambers. Widow Mines and Marines. How much damage will this Liberator go? No Spore Crawlers yet. The drones have been pulled. The Liberator is just not gonna find damage over here. Some good scouting information, but nothing more. No third being dropped yet by Bunny Style. That's instead focusing on a big production actually. Command Center has been dropped and is gonna get lifted into the third base. Stimpack has just finished. Spore Crawlers and 12 links. No Hydralisk then yet. There was just finished, and the Hydralisk then is dropped in the same instant. I just finished this sentence. This Liberator is trying to find some damage onto Overlords, but the Queen and the Spore Crawler will just shoo him away. Combat shields have been started for Bunny Style. Medivacs are gonna get out of this starport, and this is probably gonna transition into some more harassment, some more damage. Good saturation in those bases, even though these SCBs should be moved into the main actually. And we have a lot of Widow Mines actually. We have 5 Widow Mines and 12 Marines ready to get into those Medivacs and try to deal some damage to a Zerg player. Centrifugal Hooks is on the way, while +1/+1 melee and Carapace is almost finished. +1/+1 bio has just started for Bunny Style, and even Group Spines. +1 range Hydralisk has started. So this is again pretty standard. Hydralisks are really good against Widow Mines, of course if you had detection, but no drilling mines have been researched yet by Bunny Style. Hydralisks actually outrange Widow Mines. And this big ball of Zerglings could actually deal some damage on the run-bys if he decides the right moment to actually move out. This is not a really big commitment. His army is actually... The Widow Mines trying to find some damage into the Zerglings. This is a good position to get sieged in. The Liberator is gone away with just 12 HP and the Queen has been killed. +2/+2 is going on for the Zerglings. A good split over here. Those Marines are trying to get some sweet spot in between those Widow Mines. And many links are actually going to die to these Widow Mines alongside Banelings, but the defense has actually been really good for Z-Booby. Hydralisks are going hard on those Medivacs. And all the army of Bunny Style is just gonna be shooed away. Probably our Terran player should have just waited for his upgrades to finish. Drilling mines have been started over here. And actually, in this moment, our Zerg player has a scary army to threaten the economy and the production of our Terran player, Bunny style. The planetary fortress is a good addition, but those widow mines are just not gonna be enough. This is a good surround by Zerglings and Banelings. Hydras are going hard on those widow mines, but I think the Overseer is gonna die. Drilling mines is not yet done. The planetary fortress is going down, but this army by Z-Booby is gonna be shooed away. Once again, 11 SCVs have died in this push. Not too bad, not too bad at all. Lot of Hydralisks still up for a Zerg player that is gonna have a lot of Zerglings coming out of his bases, alongside +2/+2 Carapace and melee finishing. +1 ranged has been just started, more drones behind this. The economy of Booby is getting really too much big. 4th base almost saturated, and here is a small skirmish by those players. I think actually over here our Terran player is a bit of a small edge thanks to those 3 mines that avoid the Zerg player to move over there. And sieging those mines has been a bold move and actually has paid off. A lot of Marines that just died though. No Overseer here to scout those widow mines. And the Zerg army is just gonna stand over here upon those mines. And this is gonna be, wait a moment. This is gonna be huge. This is a lot of damage to a Zerg player's army. But still, a 4th has been started by Bunny style, has been just finished actually. Another planetary fortress has been dropped, but the pressure by Booby here has been too much. A scan into the main is gonna see just what you already knew. This is gonna be just a small bowl of Hydralisks and Zerglings and Banes. More widow mines are gonna get scattered here and gonna get nice splits over there by a Zerg player. They mix those widow mines, shoot all at one time. He's gonna retire his army, he's gonna wait for the Terran player to push on creep. +2/+2 going on for a Terran player. Those 2 armies, this is a nice split. He's trying to find the surround. Those buildings are gonna get in, and this is really nice by Booby that is just gonna destroy those widow mines. And this small ball of bio has just to go away. Those buildings are far too scary. Here is the transition for Booby, an infestation pit ready to get a hive, and transition maybe into Brooklords at this point. The 4th base have been scouted actually, while Booby is going home, and this is just gonna die. There's no way our Terran player can save his planetary fortress. Not enough SCVs to repair it, and he's moving into the main. The bunker is empty, more reinforcements are gonna get cut out, and this is a huge position. Meanwhile, Bunny style with a counter attack here on the 3rd base of Booby. This is starting to become a base trade. Another planetary fortress is going down. Bunny style is supply blocked, but the 3rd archery by Booby is going down. Many SCV and many drones are dying. 5 drones and 16 SCVs. Actually, Booby is coming home with his army, and clearing this ball of bio is gonna be probably game ending. A big bailing hit over these Marines, and the supply of Bunny style has just plummeted. There's nothing left for him, and he's forced to tap out of the game. A 2-0 lead for AlpX after an amazing performance by Booby, especially countering all those harassments made by Bunny style. Such a nice performance by our players today. They can take the whole series just in the next game. is gonna be on New Repugnancy. So our third player will be Sashamon, a really good macro Zerg player. Who's gonna be his opponent though? Here, trying to take the whole series 3-0 on New Repugnancy. Great performance by Owen and Booby. Here Richard will be Sashamon's opponent on New Repugnancy. Oh, actually not. I actually was mistaken. There's something going on that I don't know. The caster is just gonna take a small break, just grabbing a drink, as you can all read. So we have a ZVZ, actually, a New Repugnancy, another short map. It's actually really similar to Blue Shift and of course really similar to Catalyst for the same reasons. And this is actually a weird map for ZVZ because pretty much anything can work on this map. We've seen 12 pool expands, 15, 14, 14 pool, 13 extractor. Pretty much everything can work on this map. This is gonna definitely be a pretty fun match, as all ZVZ are really mechanical and varied in terms of builds. We know our third player, Sashamon, is actually not a great fan of ZVZ. Still, a lot of builds and a lot of experience under his belt. He will try to make this really hard for our opponent, Mass Bar, playing for the Art of Warfare. And now here we are. Game 3 is gonna start. Match point for AlpX. Let's see if Sashamon can bring this AlpX victory for this series of ATL EU Amateur. And here we are on the bottom left corner of New Repugnancy. We have our green Zerg. Playing for the Art of Warfare, he is Mass Bar. In the top right of New Repugnancy, already deciding to go for a 15-14 build, we have our AlpX Zerg rocking the pink color and dark portraits. We have Sashamon. Again, an extractor trick to get a faster archery, another drone on the line, and this is gonna be a pool pull next, sorry. So this is actually a very interesting build, while Mass Barrier is going for a standard build. 1514 is really strong against standard builds, especially on the short maps. Hard to scout because Sashaman's archery will finish not too much later, not much sooner compared to Massbar's one, and it's actually the only thing that can sell Sashaman's intentions will be creep spread on this side of his natural. The whole concept behind getting a 15 hatch and doing the structure trick is to go for a fast link speed or a fast bane nest too, and just flood the opponent's base with links over links, abusing the higher number of larvae and sooner links that can get into the opponent base. So as you can see, this is pretty hard to scout because his archery, Massbar's archery, has just finished, and the only difference is here, crit spread, as you can see. While Sashaman's creep reaches here, Massbar creep is not yet that far. But I don't actually think he understood in how much danger he is right now. Zeblins are going through the map. Well, actually, a spine, it's a Bingley nest. This is a pretty bold decision by Massbar that has actually no way of countering those links yet. 8 more links are going off, while the overload by Massbar has just died, so his supply blocked too. 6 links are going to get a fast scout. They see no spine crawler. 6 links for Massbar and a queen. Baneley nest and a spine crawler have been started, but this is almost a critical master Zerglings. 24 Zerglings to 6. Of course, is really behind in workers right now, but link speed has dropped, has kicked in. A queen has been surrounded and it's just gonna go down alongside all those links, and this build is really gonna be fatal for Massbar that is losing workers upon workers. The spine crawler is gonna go down and there's nothing to defend from this. A queen here and a spine crawler, the second archery is just gonna go down. This is a huge amount of Zerglings that are gonna get on the spine crawler and on the queen. Some links have been just made by Massbar, but it's not gonna be enough. Workers upon workers, and it's just gonna GG. This was a really fast game with a really lethal build by Sashamon, executed almost perfectly. And this is an incredible 3-0 win by AlpX. Really amazing performance by Owen, Booby and Sashamon. Please cheer up a bit in the chat because those 3 players have really played amazingly. And this has been a pretty fast series. GG to the players. Really good performance from the opponents too. Shout out to the Art of Warfare for putting up a hell of a fight. And well, this is all. AlpX gets the series, and we're gonna see you again next week. I am Acontises. You can just find me on Twitch TV/Acontises. You can read my name actually. And this has been a fun stream, a fun series, and some really good players have played, and we're happy AlpX won. See you next time. Goodbye all.